Picture this, it's June 5, 2025, and the internet's already buzzing with political drama when Elon Musk, the billionaire trailblazer behind Tesla and SpaceX, lights a match and tosses it into the chaos. In a single post on X, he writes something that stops everyone in their tracks. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. No warning, no evidence, just a raw, unfiltered claim that President Donald Trump's name is hiding in the still-sealed Jeffrey Epstein files. Within minutes, that post becomes a digital wildfire, racking up millions of views as reactions flood in, some cheering Musk's audacity, others slamming it as a cheap shot. The question on everyone's mind: is this a wild guess, or does Musk know something the rest of us don't? The timing couldn't have been more electric. Musk's accusation didn't just come out of nowhere, it landed in the middle of a very public, very messy feud with Trump. Just weeks earlier, Musk had walked away from his role leading the Department of Government Efficiency, a gig Trump handed him after a hefty campaign donation. But their bromance soured fast over Trump's one big beautiful bill, a fiscal plan Musk called a disgusting abomination for ballooning the national debt and slashing electric vehicle subsidies. That X post wasn't just a jab, it was a calculated escalation, a way to hit Trump where it hurts most, his reputation. Online, fans and critics alike started digging, with some speculating Musk had insider info from his government days, while others saw it as a bitter ex-ally lashing out. Either way, the internet was hooked, and the Epstein files were back in the spotlight. What made Musk's claim so explosive wasn't just the names involved, it was the mystery of those files. The Epstein documents, tied to a convicted financier whose high-profile connections have fueled endless speculation, have been a sore point for years. Some were unsealed in 2024, but the juiciest ones, the ones everyone's whispering about, remain locked away. Musk's post tapped into that frustration, hinting at a cover-up without spilling any proof. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out, he added in a follow-up, doubling down on the intrigue. Was he bluffing to stir the pot, or does he have a card up his sleeve? That's what had people glued to their screens, debating whether this was a billionaire's vendetta or a clue to a bigger truth. But to understand why this accusation hit so hard, we need to look at how Musk and Trump went from allies to enemies in record time. Just a year ago, Elon Musk and Donald Trump were the ultimate power duo, shaking up the political scene like a plot twist in a blockbuster movie. Musk, the tech titan behind Tesla and SpaceX, poured millions into Trump's 2024 campaign, helping fuel his return to the White House. In return, Trump handed Musk a shiny new role leading the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a nod to Musk's crypto obsession. It was a match made in headlines, the brash billionaire and the comeback president teaming up to streamline Washington. Musk even boasted on X that Trump's win wouldn't have happened without me, and for a while it seemed like they were unstoppable. But like any good drama, the cracks started showing fast, and by mid-2025 their alliance was crumbling. What went wrong? Let's unpack the fallout that set the stage for Musk's jaw-dropping Epstein accusation. The breaking point came over a policy clash that hit Musk where it hurt his empire. Trump's one big beautiful bill, a sweeping fiscal plan, promised to reshape the economy but included a gut punch for Musk: the elimination of electric vehicle subsidies. For a guy whose fortune rides on Tesla, that was a betrayal. Musk didn't hold back, blasting the bill as a disgusting abomination that would balloon the national debt and kneecap the EV industry. By May 2025, he'd had enough and quit DOGE, citing irreconcilable differences with Trump's agenda. The move stunned political circles, but Musk wasn't done. On X, he ramped up his attacks, accusing Trump of reckless spending and even hinting at bigger secrets. The Epstein claim wasn't just a random shot, it was the climax of a feud that had been simmering for months, and it was personal. Trump, never one to stay quiet, hit back hard. In a June 2025 White House meeting, he called Musk's criticism disappointing, and suggested it was all sour grapes over the EV subsidies. Then he went nuclear, threatening to yank federal contracts from Tesla and SpaceX, a move that sent Tesla's stock tumbling 14% overnight. Musk fired back on X, calling for Trump's impeachment and suggesting Vice President J.D. Vance take over. The internet ate it up, with hashtags like #MuskVsTrump trending worldwide. Political figures jumped in. Two Democrats like Dan Goldman seized on Musk's Epstein claim to demand the files' release, while Trump loyalists dismissed it as a tantrum. This wasn't just a falling out. It was a public cage match between two titans, each wielding influence like a weapon. But to understand why Musk's accusation landed with such force, we need to dig into who Jeffrey Epstein was and why his files are a global obsession. Jeffrey Epstein was a name that echoed through the corridors of power, a financier who rubbed shoulders with the world's elite, billionaires, politicians, even royalty. Born in Brooklyn in 1953, he climbed from modest roots to become a Wall Street wizard, managing money for the ultra-wealthy through his secretive firm. By the 1990s, Epstein's lavish lifestyle, private jets, a Manhattan mansion, and a private island in the Caribbean made him a magnet for high-profile figures. His charm and connections painted him as a larger-than-life character, hosting star-studded parties at places like his Palm Beach estate, not far from Trump's Mar-a-Lago. But beneath the glitz, whispers of darker dealings were already circling, and soon Epstein's name would become synonymous with scandal. How did a money man with no clear business empire get so close to the world's most powerful people? The cracks in Epstein's facade started showing in 2005, when allegations surfaced in Florida that he'd been involved in serious misconduct with young women, many barely teenagers. By 2008, he faced accusations of running a network that exploited vulnerable girls, leading to a controversial plea deal. He served just 13 months in a cushy jail setup, free to work during the day, which sparked outrage and questions about who might have pulled strings to protect him. Fast forward to 2019, and Epstein was back in the spotlight, facing new charges that could have exposed more about his web of influence. But before he could face trial, he passed away in a Manhattan jail cell, officially ruled as taking his own life. The timing and circumstances fueled endless theories. Some say foul play, others a convenient escape for those he knew. Either way, his death left more questions than answers, and his files became a lightning rod for speculation. Epstein's connections are what keep his story alive. His Black Book, a contact list seized by authorities, read like a who's who of the elite, with names like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and yes, Donald Trump. Flight logs from his private jet, dubbed the Lolita Express, showed powerful figures hopping rides, often to his private island. While some names were tied to his crimes, many were just social acquaintances, caught in the orbit of a man who thrived on influence. That's why Musk's claim about Trump and the Epstein files hit so hard. It tapped into years of curiosity and distrust about who Epstein really knew and what secrets died with him. But to get why those files are such a big deal, we need to unpack what they actually are and why some are still hidden from the public. The Epstein files, what are they and why do they have the world on edge? These aren't just random papers. They're a massive collection of documents compiled by the FBI and other U.S. authorities during their investigations into Jeffrey Epstein's illicit activities. Think flight logs from his private jet, contact lists packed with high-profile names, court records from his 2008 plea deal, and evidence from his 2015 defamation lawsuit involving Ghislaine Maxwell. When some of these documents were first unsealed in January 2024, they sent shockwaves, revealing glimpses of Epstein's network. Names like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and even Donald Trump popped up. But here's the kicker, not all the files were released. A chunk remains sealed or heavily redacted, and that's what's fueling the firestorm Musk's accusation tapped into. Why keep them hidden, and what's in there that's so explosive? The partial release of the files came after years of public pressure. In 2024, a federal judge ordered documents from the Maxwell lawsuit to be made public, followed by the Department of Justice and FBI declassifying more in February 2025, including redacted flight logs and Epstein's infamous Black Book. These gave us fragments, phone numbers, travel records, and names of people who crossed paths with Epstein. But the redactions and sealed files left huge gaps, sparking rumors of a cover-up. U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi explained that the FBI is still sifting through tens of thousands of documents, holding back some to protect victims and ongoing investigations. That reasoning hasn't calmed the storm. Online, people are buzzing with questions. Are powerful figures being shielded? Is there really a client list naming Epstein's associates in wrongdoing? Musk's claim about Trump being in those hidden files poured gasoline on that speculation. The secrecy around the files has turned them into a modern-day mystery, almost a myth. Every unsealed page gets dissected on platforms like X, with users hunting for clues about who knew what and when. Musk's accusation wasn't just a jab at Trump. It was a spark that reignited demands for full transparency. Democrats like Dan Goldman and Ted Lieu have since pushed for every document to be released, arguing the public deserves the truth. Meanwhile, skeptics point out that no official client list has ever been confirmed to exist, and much of what's out there is just names of people who partied or traveled with Epstein, not proof of crimes. Still, the locked-away files keep the rumors alive, and Musk's bombshell made everyone wonder, what's really in there and why is it still under wraps? To get the full picture, we need to look at Trump's actual ties to Epstein and why they're under such a microscope. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein weren't strangers. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, they moved in the same glitzy circles of New York and Palm Beach high society. The two were spotted together at exclusive events, from Manhattan galas to parties at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. just a stone's throw from Epstein's Florida mansion. A 1992 video unearthed by NBC News captures them laughing and watching dancers at a Mar-a-Lago bash, looking like old pals. Epstein's Black Book, a contact list seized by authorities and later leaked, had Trump's name with multiple phone numbers, his office, home, even Mar-a-Lago. Flight logs from Epstein's private jet, dubbed the Lolita Express, show Trump hitched rides at least 7 times between 1993 and 1997, sometimes with family members like his then-wife Marla Maples. This was the 90s, when Epstein's dark side wasn't yet public. But these ties are why Musk's accusation about Trump in the Epstein files hit like a lightning bolt. Fast forward to 2002, and Trump's own words added fuel to the speculation. In a New York Magazine profile, he called Epstein a terrific guy and a lot of fun to be with, even noting their shared taste for beautiful women, many of them on the younger side. That quote raised eyebrows when Epstein's crimes later came to light, though Trump's team has since downplayed it, saying it was just casual praise from a social acquaintance. Trump himself claimed their friendship fizzled after a falling out over a Palm Beach real estate deal in the early 2000s. And by 2008, when Epstein's legal troubles exploded, Trump distanced himself completely. Importantly, no evidence from the unsealed files or investigations ties Trump to Epstein's criminal activities. Still, those old connections, parties, flights, and that black book keep his name in the conversation, especially when someone like Musk stirs the pot with a claim about hidden files. So why does this matter now? Musk's accusation that Trump's name is in the sealed Epstein files lanes on these documented ties to spark curiosity. But it's framed as pure speculation, no proof, just a provocative hint. Online, some see it as Musk weaponizing old gossip to hit Trump where it hurts, while others wonder if there's more to the story still locked away. The lack of concrete evidence against Trump doesn't stop the rumors, especially when the public's already hungry for answers about those unreleased files. Every mention of Trump and Epstein reignites debates about who knew what and whether powerful names are being protected. To understand the fallout of Musk's claim, we need to dive into how this feud exploded into threats, stock crashes, and calls for impeachment. Elon Musk's accusation about Trump and the Epstein files wasn't just a spark. It was a full-blown explosion that turned their falling out into a public spectacle. Days after Musk's June 2025 X post claiming Trump's name was in the sealed files, the president fired back during a White House meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Trump didn't touch the Epstein claim directly but took a swipe at Musk, saying he was disappointed by his criticism and suggesting it stemmed from losing electric vehicle subsidies. Then came the hammer. Trump threatened to pull federal contracts from Tesla and SpaceX, a move that could cost Musk's companies billions. The markets didn't wait for details. Tesla's stock plummeted 14% overnight, wiping out serious value. This wasn't just a war of words anymore. It was a high-stakes battle with real-world consequences, and the internet was eating it up. Musk, never one to back down, cranked the heat even higher. On X, he endorsed calls for Trump's impeachment, suggesting Vice President J.D. Vance would be a better fit to lead. "Time for a change," Musk posted, framing Trump's policies as reckless and his threats as a personal vendetta. The online world split into camps. Musk's fans cheered his defiance, while Trump's base called him a sore loser, lashing out after his Doge exit. Hashtags like #MuskVsTrump trended globally, with memes and hot takes flooding platforms like X. Political figures jumped in. 2 Democrats like Dan Goldman and Ted Lieu latched onto Musk's Epstein claim, demanding the files be unsealed to clear the air. Meanwhile, Trump allies dismissed Musk as a disgruntled ex-ally with no proof. The feud wasn't just personal anymore, it was pulling in the whole political circus. This clash didn't just shake up Wall Street and Washington, it reignited the public's obsession with the Epstein files. Musk's accusation, though unproven, gave new life to demands for transparency, with voices across the spectrum asking why those documents are still under wraps. Some speculated Musk was using his platform to pressure authorities, leveraging his massive X following to amplify the call. Others saw it as a desperate jab to hurt Trump after their policy split. Either way, the fallout was undeniable. Tesla's stock took a hit, political tensions spiked, and the Epstein mystery gained fresh momentum. But why does this fight resonate so deeply? And what's at stake if those files ever see the light of day? That's where this story takes its next twist. Elon Musk's accusation that Donald Trump's name is hidden in the sealed Epstein files didn't just spark a Twitter storm. It tapped into a deeper vein of public distrust that's been simmering for years. The Epstein saga, with its shadowy web of elite connections and unanswered questions, has become a symbol of everything people suspect about power and privilege, that the truth is often buried to protect the untouchable. When Musk, a billionaire with a front-row seat to the halls of influence, pointed the finger at Trump, It gave voice to a widespread feeling that something's being hidden. Whether he's right or wrong, his claim resonates because it fuels the belief that those at the top, presidents, CEOs, royalty, might be dodging accountability. That's why every new hint about the Epstein files, especially one this explosive, sends shockwaves far beyond X. This feud also matters because it's more than a personal spat. It's a clash of titans with massive stakes. Musk's accusation and Trump's retaliation shook markets, with Tesla's stock diving 14% after Trump threatened to gut federal contracts. That's real money, real jobs, and real consequences for investors and employees. Politically, it's a lightning rod. Democrats are seizing on Musk's claim to push for the file's release, while Trump's allies call it a distraction from his agenda. The ripple effects reach further, stirring up questions about government transparency and who gets to control the narrative. When two of the world's most influential figures are duking it out over something as murky as the Epstein files, it's not just drama. It's a window into how power, money, and secrets collide in today's world. But the biggest reason this matters is what it says about truth in the age of speculation. Musk's claim, unbacked by evidence, thrives on the mystery of those sealed files. Are they hiding bombshells about Trump or others, or is it just bureaucratic red tape? The lack of answers lets rumors run wild, from whispers of a secret client list to theories about Epstein's death. Online, X-users are dissecting every angle, with some demanding full disclosure and others dismissing Musk as a grudge-holding provocateur. This fight has turned the Epstein files into a cultural flashpoint, a test of whether we'll ever get clarity on one of the most controversial stories of our time. So what happens if those files finally come out? That's the question driving everyone wild, and it's where this story heads next.